Hello, everybody. It's James here, WSI. My next guest, he is a certified G, a bona fide stud, and the realest guy in the room. And you can't teach that. What's going on, Zo?
Bada boom, realest one in a room. How you doing? Real one. Follow me on social media, Twitter, on Instagram at Real1. That's the number, not the word there at the end. All my music is out on all social media streaming platforms. Real1, REAL1. I got a song and a music video called Grace. That means a lot to me. That one's a bangy, certified banger. It has my grandma in the music video. My little brother shot that music video. He's the same one who shot and made the music video for Phoenix. And my little brother has gone on to huge success to become one of the most successful music video creators in all of the land, working with Post Malone to Lil Durk, countless hip hop artists. Jack Harlow, What's Poppin'? He shot that. Cole Bennett, Lyrical Lemonade. My brother's a cinematographer, a DP, and what a success. We don't provide it unto others. I love to see my little brother win more than I win. He's about as successful as you can get in his industry. So that's been cool. And so I'm very, highly involved in music still, writing and creating music all the time. Check out my song God is Good, has no curse words. You can play it for your children. That certified PG era stuff from the Real One Zo. If you don't know, now you know. I never said a curse word on a PG television show for 7 years, and I took that role model game seriously. But as you can see in Phoenix, when I came out swinging, I pull no punches, and we can get into anything you want to get into.
That's the spirit, and we shall do indeed. Now, I was actually hoping to say, finally, after 106 to 110 guests having on, finally, someone younger than me that I'm interviewing. And then I looked up your birthday, and you're 1 week older than me. So it's like, bastard.
Oh, good gracious. You're born in December?
Yeah, December baby, 86.
I love to hear it, man.
So,
yeah, I love to hear it.
So
It's a hell of a year, bro. The Mets and the New York Giants won the Super Bowl and the World Series.
That's more
Let's
localized
hear
for
it
you
for
guys,
New York, New York.
What
Yeah,
year did you
man.
start watching wrestling?
I started watching wrestling when I was a kid, probably 1992, 92, probably maybe 91. Got my first action figures for pro wrestling when I was about 4 or 5 and didn't exactly know who they were and used to play with them with like Spider-Man and Batman and mix them up. And I came to realize watching my homies down the block play with a wrestling ring, the light blue Hasbro WWF ring with the red, white, and blue ropes. They were out there playing with a bunch of toys. They had like Axe and Legion of Doom and the spiked shoulder pads and Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and these colorful Hasbro toys with the action, And I was like, wait a second, I got one of those at my house. And I ran home and I had Jake the Snake Roberts with the snake. And I brought him down the block, and that was my intro to pro wrestling, really. I went in the house that day. We watched, his older brother had VHS tapes. I saw the Royal Rumble. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And by 95, I'm watching Shawn Michaels win the Royal Rumble, and I know exactly what it is that I got to do when I grow up. That's enter the Royal Rumble, #1, win, and get Pamela Anderson to stand behind me when I do win it. And that was the goals.
So everyone's got the favorites when they're a kid, right? But you specifically, who was the guy you looked at who was wrestling on TV every week, and you said, hey, if they're doing it, I can do it?
You see that? That's the Shawn Michaels heart
good
right
man.
there. Yeah, I got a tattoo of a Shawn Michaels heart before I knew I was going to be a pro wrestler. Well, I always knew I was going to be a pro wrestler. I guess that's part why I had the heart. I colored it green later in the years, but it used to just be black and white. But yeah, I got that tattoo when I was 17, man. Shawn Michaels meant more to me than pro wrestling did, honestly. I didn't tell my mom to put on pro wrestling. I told my mom to put on Shawn Michaels.
Was he always the guy who you emulated, or was there someone else on TV that you thought?
I could not even begin to explain to you what this guy and this action figure, this Hasbro white trunks, red zebra striped action figure with the black glasses, black gloves. That was like a blankie for me. You know how like a little kid has his blankie and he carries it around like Tommy from Rugrats?
Mm-hmm.
My blankie was Shawn Michaels' Hasbro toy. And it meant more to me than anything in the world. I ran around thinking I was him all the time. I don't even know how to begin. Like I got kicked out of school. I created they ask you what you want to be when you grow up, and they put all the pictures that the kids draw up hand by hand on the wall. And I made me with assless chaps on, a broken heart over my dick, with hairy yarn on my chest, and mullet coming out the back with dangly earrings, sexy boy written on one leg, boy toy written on the other. And they hung it in the school. And then they summoned my mom to go look at it. And then they told her I was getting expelled. It's like, why would you let me create that art and then put it up on the wall and then let all the kids and everybody see it? And all the older kids are coming up to me in school like, "Oh shit, yo, we saw that." And I was cool from that moment on, because I was in like fucking kindergarten or first grade. And my mom, they told me I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling anymore, and that just made things worse. And God bless my parents, man, letting me chase my dream. And thank God for football. Honestly, football took over for me when I was in high school. And I got an opportunity to, the school that was recruiting me is where John Cena went to play college football. And at the time, I'm watching John Cena on TV. I'm like, yo, I'm going to go to where he played college football. That will be how I get in the WWE. And so that's what I did. I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts, played football. I met John Cena there my freshman year. I asked him how, when he's having an assembly with all the other kids and high school to freshman college football players. So we're all freshmen. We meet with John Cena, which he probably still does to this day. I think he goes and visits his alma mater, Springfield College Pride, and he talks to the football team, the incoming freshmen. And I asked him how I could be a pro, to which he said, finish college, talk to your coach, and find a school, kind of. So I ended up seeing him in 2012 in the hallway on the night that I debuted in NXT, and I said, "Hey, man, take me home tonight." And he went, "What?" And "Take Me Home Tonight" is the name of the song that is played in the Springfield College locker room every single time you win. That's the victory song, "Take Me Home Tonight" by Eddie Money. And when I said "Take Me Home Tonight," Cena stopped in the hallway and looked at me like, "Wait, what?" And then I said, "I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts, and I met you my freshman year, and I asked you how I can get here, and I'm here now." And he was like, "Oh, shit." And then he shook my hand, and he went off. And then he watched me debut. And then he asked me if I wanted to come to the ring with him after I went out there and debuted and got killed and cut a promo on Mason Ryan. And he liked the promo, and apparently Cena stood up backstage in front of all the boys who stood up and clapped. Because I debuted, everybody stood up and clapped. Cena stopped to see why they all stood up and clapped, and then he watched my debut, and he repeated the words, "Bada boom, realest guy in the room," like I said it. And then he asked me if I wanted to come outside in the dark segment with Damian Sandow, cut a promo. I told him I had a tag team partner, which was a lie at the time. I did not have a tag team partner, but I was cutting promos with Big Cass for Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty liked the promos. So I would assume that Dusty would approve of us being together out there with John Cena. In that moment, I booked Big Cass, and I said, "Big Cass is my tag team partner." And John Cena asked us to go to the dark segment with him. Damian Sandow's the intellectual savior of the masses. Well, John Cena, Big Cass is 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. All right. And I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that, Damian Sandow. You think you're so smart, you're the intellectual savior of the masses. How many dimples are there on a golf ball? Oh, you don't know? There's 168 dimples on a golf ball. There's 0 on my hind end. You want to know why? Because I'm hard body. You know what you are? You're SAWFT soft. John Cena repeated it, and then me and Big Cass were booked every single week after that for the rest of our career. And I just gave you the elevator pitch of my entire story as fast as I could so we can get through it, because I've repeated it so many times in my career that I hate backtracking. But that's how I made it. That's how I got on TV, and it never ended until it ended.
Because I'm glad you mentioned Dusty Rhodes. When you first go to NXT, did he guide you in any way with your promos? Because obviously you're a confident young man, you've got it in you straight away. So did he guide you at any point to like how to cut a promo, or do you just know straight off the bat?
Nah. It's funny you should say that, man. I don't really talk about this, but I guess like it kind of sounds like I'm an asshole if I say it. So I just avoid saying it. But every single time I cut a promo in promo class, it was fucking pretty much lights out. I think there was one time in the history of my entire career where I flubbed a word and I stopped, and then I sat down. And that was in a class, very early on, and it's a learning experience, but it never, ever, 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 ever happened again because once you start a promo, you can't restart. So like, imagine I'm like a week or two into wrestling, and I start a promo, and I'm like, oh, all right, can I start over? And they're like, no, sit down. And you're like, oh shit. Well, never happened again. So you learn right then and there because I was green. I didn't like I was brand new to the business. But I knew that like I wanted to rehearse these promos and write them down. So the beginning of my career, I wrote every word down, memorized it, and said it the way I said it in the mirror. Worked really hard on that part. Like Jim Carrey, just practicing a role in a movie. Just constant. But when I was doing promos, as I was saying, I sound like an asshole saying this. What I would do is I would cut my promo. A lot of the time, I would go over 90 seconds. Now, you're given a minute or you're given 90 seconds to cut a promo in promo class. And if I went over, you might hear about it. But honestly, Dusty never gave me feedback unless I went over. And when I went over, he would just be like, yeah, you went over. That was it. Yeah. And then, but basically what I'm saying is, I saw Dusty work with a lot of fucking people over the years. And there's people that, for instance, Bailey comes out there. When she first started, she didn't feel comfortable with a promo. And so she would be like, like just Ricky Bobby, like, what do I do with my hands? I'm nervous. I don't know. Can I get a hug? Because I'm really nervous right now and I don't know what to say. So can I just have a hug? And dude, that got over like wildfire. And Dusty was working with her on that. It was like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable cutting a promo, how about you just say that? How about you just come out there and say, like, I don't know what I'm doing up here. Like, what do I do with my hands? It's that Ricky Bobby thing. And like Dusty literally said that. It was like, this is a Ricky Bobby thing. Like, what do I do with my hands? Well, fuck it. And probably Bailey's idea to start doing hugs, but it was playing into that character. And now you see Bailey cut promos in main events of Monday Night Raw. So like, fuck, like that can be taught, like you can. And Dusty definitely worked with a lot of people to get it out of them. With me, when Dusty wanted a great promo to be cut, he would just call my name and tell me to go up there. And then I would fucking kill it. And then he would give me zero feedback and just go, Enzo, sit down. And that was my feedback 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, my feedback was always, Enzo, sit down. And I would just shut up and sit down. So I didn't even know if he liked it or didn't like it. Like, I didn't even know what it meant. I would just fucking go. Just go cut my little promo.
Who was the first person in the office to actually say, keep doing what you're doing? Or, just like some affirmation in that respect. So you knew you were on the right track.
Oh, bro, dude, nobody. Nobody.
Oh, really?
I mean, I was often told what not to do.
Is it one of those things where you just
doing what I do?
As soon as you mess up, then they'll tell you. Is it one of those things?
Man, no. No, I was under a very watchful eye, and I'll never know. Maybe Hunter will tell me one day. Maybe I'll have that conversation with him. I just don't know what they saw in me. If I was a real talent that they viewed as such. But I was made to feel like I was getting fired every single second. So I never really knew if I was valuable to them. I thought I could get fired the next day and the wheels would keep moving. You're just a cog in the wheel and this thing is going. So I just, I never knew I like what they thought of me or anything. Like you're very much, I was the wrestler who they discovered, who they gave a shot, who never wrestled before in his life. So I very much never was, I was treated like a talent, in this business.
With that being said, I've seen interviews with you before, and you've said that Vince McMahon was a fan of yours. So when did he come out, or did you just hear it through the grapevine?
Dude, at the end, when you all saw it. Like, how could I explain, right? Like, I got the cruiserweight title. I had cruiserweight title matches in the main event of Monday Night Raw. I had the microphone and opening segments of Monday Night Raw, and crossover segments and main event segments on television. And then 205 Live was on in the third hour of SmackDown after SmackDown, holding the house, and became a show that was beating NXT in the ratings at the time. 205 Live was, and Brock was very busy with killing it, making money and doing nothing, right? Because that's what fucking everybody's goal should be in this life: make money and do less work. And when Brock was the champion, he wasn't really around much. And I don't know if there was other injuries. I don't really remember like what was going on, but shit, the cruiserweight title was in the main event. It was inserted all over the card, and it was getting advertised in Southeast Asia. You know what I'm saying? I was main eventing matches and semi-main event matches in Singapore and Hong Kong and shit. Like, I mean, I don't know, bro. I don't have answers. Like, I don't know. Like, doesn't that mean that the company likes you, believes in you, or fucking if they give you the microphone every single night with the reality that you could say the wrong thing or curse or go off script, and at that moment, like, so there's certainly chances that I took, bro, that other people probably never took or were afraid to take on the microphone as a character, sticking up for myself. I just don't know, like, where you draw the line on, what works and what doesn't. Sometimes you're just not in the know. There's a lot of people talking, and they ain't talking to me, dog.
Did you, when you're on the main roster, I'm going to bounce back and forth. Dude, I wrote 5 pages of script for you. We're never going to get to a quarter of the things I've written for you. But did a script writer on your first time on the main roster try and script you? And then,
oh no, I was so blessed, man. Man, Dusty Rhodes had my back, right? So if Dusty tells Hunter, who then tells Vince, or Dusty tells Vince that this is who he is and this is what he does, and we're going to let him do that, like, give Anthony to Mac. Like, Anthony will cut your promo. Like, that's it, right? So that supersedes every writer. That right there. Other people didn't have that luxury, especially now that Dusty's gone. I don't know what you do to get that now. Like, if I'm in NXT right now and I want a microphone every fucking night, I mean, I probably got to get over with Shawn Michaels and hope that he gives me the mic. But back then it was Dusty. So if Dusty wanted me to have a microphone every night, and then that translated to the main roster, meaning I get called up, and the writers who I worked with, Nikki, Ryan Ward, all these guys were fucking amazing. Swakata, and they would hand me an outline, basically. Like this says, how are you? You say, how you doing? So say, how you doing? Like, they were, and other wrestlers, I don't know, because I'm not them, but I can understand why people might have had jealousy, why people might have hated on me, because I never wrestled before. I get signed to the WWE immediately, never wrestled, discovered by Triple H. My first shot out there, I get John Cena in the ring with me. I get the microphone every night thereafter. I get over and I get booked every night. And if you're a guy who's been busting your ass in Ring of Honor, New Japan, on the indies all around the world to try to get this opportunity, and you talk to me and I don't know who Dave Meltzer is, and I never heard of Ring of Honor, you might hate me just because. And I just never looked at life like a pro wrestler. I just looked at it like humanity. Like, are you a good person? Do you deserve, like, look, we can't compare each other to each other. I got in the door how I got in the door. You got in the door how you get in the door. You know how much I respect Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for leaving their house when they were like 15, 16, putting on a pair of tights, paying somebody to teach them how to wrestle, getting ripped off, then paying somebody to kick their ass, and then hopping across the border over and over again to the United States to make $20, $30 to build a name for themselves and make it in this business. The stories I got to hear from people who got where I was mind-blowing. So I had no choice but to work hard in my position. I had to show up first and leave last, which is a part of my story that I guess, like, you don't hear people waste their breath on me, honestly. Like, if you talk to people who actually matter, is there anyone in the company of the WWE who's ever said anything bad about me? Like, I don't think so, dude. If they work for the company and they're there and they're a pro wrestler, they worked with me, like especially the ones at the beginning, they might dislike me, but they'll be the first ones to tell you I was there at 5:30 in the morning waiting for the boss to open the fucking door every day. So are you going to shit on that guy? You know what I mean? Like, I outworked you. I'm sorry. I showed up before you and I left last. And is it a coincidence that when I showed up on the main roster that people, I just look at it in retrospect and I go, man, there's no such thing as a coincidence. If you work hard, you'll reap the rewards of your hard work. And also if you start drinking all the time, partying all the time, hanging out with the wrong people, you're going to see that effect of that in your life as well. So, I mean, I get it across the board, but there was a lot of sacrifices made by not just me, but other wrestlers at the beginning of the NXT years that you see the rewards of now. Like I was there and I saw a lot of those people that are on television now, like Charlotte, like holy shit. She's awesome. The what she had to overcome, the adversity, watching, her go through that process of losing her brother and becoming a champion and holding it down in main events that women have never done before. So I was real lucky to be in a place where there was always people that were motivated to be great. They were around me all over the place.
Speaking of which, because you mentioned about the training, it sort of falls off from what you were just saying there. You get there in 2012, you debut in 2013, but let's talk about the training itself. Who were the guys there at the time who were hands-on with you and who were guiding you through, your first steps into the business? Because I've written some names down, maybe Billy Gunn, Robbie Brookside, William Regal, Norman Smiley, Bill DeMott. I don't know if I've got all those names right.
All the above.
Yeah.
Every single one of them had a hand in Enzo, whether they want to admit it or not. Yeah. Norman Smiley most definitely is the greatest. I cannot even I can't even begin to explain what a great man he is. Like that guy is an unbelievable human, a role model employee, a model human. If I'm a young wrestler and I really love this business, some career paths are going to go differently, right? Mm. That guy's had a job in the WWE for a very long time, and he deserves it. And if you really love this business like he does, like a lot of people do, like I do, like pro wrestlers do, he's got a job in it for life because of the relationships that he's garnered with people like me and every single person that he taught how to lock up. Your first lockup in this business, your first wrist lock in this business, your first drop kick, the first time you hit the ropes. That guy has so many first timers under his belt. We owe him the world, and we wouldn't have made it without him. So I really give that guy a lot of credit, and a guy that gets a lot of heat, and a lot of people talk bad about him, man. And that's Bill DeMott. Man, I don't have any ill will towards Bill. He made our lives hell on earth. It was hell. You got to go through hell if you want to make it to the top, dog. You got to start from the bottom to get to the top. And a lot of people like to complain about what went on when Bill was there. And what I say to them is, you signed up for the fucking WWE, you bitch. How did you think you were going to make it? I walked through the door, and I never wrestled before in my life. So anytime I got in the ring and I was learning how to take an ass kicking, and I was literally getting my ass kicked, I was none the wiser. I just thought that this is how we make it. And that is how you make it. I'm a testament to it. The guy who took the most ass whippings, who shut the fuck up and showed up first and took every single ass kicking, ended up getting the loudest ovation in NXT to WWE call up history when he showed up on the scene. Was it because my life was made a hell worse than anyone else's at a time where I needed it? Maybe. I don't know. But I know that I had it really, really hard, really, really rough. And I'm not complaining about it at all because it made me the man I am. If I could get through that, I can get to Raw And when I get to Raw, they're going to hear me roar, dog. I am going to fucking let it be known. And I don't have to tell you about the hells I went through on the come up trying to make it. Other people I witnessed it. I don't ever need to speak on it. That's pro wrestling. If you signed up for this thing and you want to make it, you have no right to complain. Some days are going to suck. You know, they don't do street team anymore. I was on street team every day for a year. What does that mean? I wasn't on the card. I didn't wrestle on the shows. I set up merchandise. I sold t-shirts that had Seth Rollins' face on it that said FCW. I set up the ring. I learned how to set up all 4 posts, made sure I got a shoulder under every post so that Roman saw it, so that Seth Rollins saw it, so that Ambrose saw it, so that everyone saw it. Because I don't know how to wrestle. I've never had a match for in my life. But you're not going to tell me I didn't touch all 4 posts when I set up this ring, when I tied the ring ropes. Y'all saw me do that because I'm not contributing to the show any other way. You're not putting me on. I'm not booked. But remember, when I started in this thing, I was with everybody who was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who got the loudest ovation when we showed up? Me and Cass, okay? But I learned when I got through the fucking door there how to do a wrist lock and a drop kick, dog. So, like, I mean, I was fighting for my life from day one, and you have no choice in that situation but to persevere, or it's sink or swim. You get thrown into the fire. You get signed by the WWE. You never wrestled before in your life, and these are the guys you're sharing a locker room with. You better figure it the fuck out, and you had to earn people's respect, and you had to do it the old school way, and people think that I didn't are out of their fucking mind. Like, you had to, there's a certain level to shut the fuck up and look, listen, and learn that goes into becoming a pro.
How did it change when A-Train turned up to NXT? What were the big differences as far as the training regime, and maybe it wasn't quite as drill sergeant-like?
Yeah, man, look it, bro. Bill had his way of doing things, and I think it made a lot of people stars. I think it made me a star.
Is it like the pressure cooker thing? You know what I mean?
Bro, if you could fucking make it under Bill, you're going to make it under anyone. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, look at Seth. Look at what he's doing now. Look at Roman. Look at what he's doing now. Right? Like, these people made it under Bill, you know? Maybe give Bill a little bit more credit for being such an asshole. Like, I think it was, bro, you know what it was? I came from football, and I had some tough coaches. I played American football. I played college football. And in high school, I had a coach that wouldn't let you get water at practice. So, like, it was tough. Like, and I grew up with kids that joined the military after high school, didn't go play college football. I was the only kid that played college football on my fucking high school football team, right? The other kids, they joined the military and they smoked cigarettes behind the field house during practice. We played football on grass. We didn't play on turf. I'm not that old, but you know how old we are, dog. So, like, I grew up in a different time where it was okay to be tough. You can't get away with that shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we live in a different world. So,
we're the last of a dying generation.
We're dinosaurs, man. I grew up without a cell phone. You know, the first time I got my first kiss, I sat outside that girl's house and threw little pebbles at her window to let her know I was there. You know what I mean?
Dude, you should have had a boombox and Peter Gabriel playing on it.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to meet somebody and depend on them to be there.
Yeah. Yes. Still phone boxes. Forget the amount of times I've stood outside of a shop or something for an hour waiting for someone who never was going to show up.
Yeah, man. You get it, dude. Just being let down. Somebody, yeah, dude.
It sucks, man. But it's character building, I'll tell you.
But yeah, and I think that there was a lot of character building in FCW. Once you got into the building of NXT, and then you bring in A-Train, as you mentioned, it was just at that time, man, NXT was popping now, dude, and you couldn't have a bad time if you tried. I mean, we're selling out houses. Shows are off the chain. Fergal, Samoa Joe, Kenta, Tyler Breeze, Ty Dillinger, FTR, Wesley Blake, Buddy Murphy, Sasha, Charlotte, Lexi, Carmella, Becky, Nia, me, Cass, Mojo, Baron Corbin. You know, and that's just mentioning a few. There's probably a lot that I left off that list. So
I'll have to get,
you're talking to,
yeah, I'll have to get in post. I'll have to get like an entire like scrolling like credits list of people who've come out of that era.
I mean, it's the greatest: Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn, Neville. You know, that's NXT Gold and Black. You know, and if you were on that roster and you were working the competition level at practice and every day in the ring, promo class, shows every weekend. You know, that was competition, baby. That's how the cream always rises. That was an incredible transition from FCW to NXT that I was a part of, that Hunter had a vision for, that he believed in, that I don't think anybody could have really, like, while we all believed in him and we heard him say that this is what we're going to do, you can't believe it till you see it. That goes in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it's all said and done and we look back at it and it's still a product, it's on TV, it has a TV contract. It's like, holy shit, you know? Great time to be in the biz.
We're going to move on to a little game. I've written quite a lot of names and sentences for this, so we may have to speed through it at points, but it's called Name Association. I do it with every interview. And it's essentially, I give you a sentence, you give me the first name that pops into your head when I say that sentence. And it could be from any locker room, doesn't just have to be WWE or NXT. And the first one is the funniest person in the locker room. You can't say yourself for any of these answers.
Wait, this is all the way to the top to the bottom?
Anyone you've ever met in any locker room. Could be anyone.
Can I put a group of brothers in, like,
of course you can.
Pot?
Of course you can.
All right. Funniest locker room guys.
Mm-hmm.
Gallows and Anderson. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. And Fandango. Now, Fandango's still alive, but if you can get a Fandango, Bray Wyatt, Gallows and Anderson, and Enzo at a bar in 2016-17, and this happened a lot. This is a group. This is two cars combining, meeting at the same place. All right? You're looking at one hell of a night of laughter. I mean, the boys are going to pop each other all night long. Those days, those are the best days of our lives, and we all know it, you know. It sucks because there's just, I don't really drink anymore. Wyndham's gone. Fandango doesn't drink anymore. Right? It's like those days, man, best days of our lives.
It's funny because the next question, is last man standing at the bar.
Oh, I don't know about standing, but I'll be right there standing next to, like, Braun Strowman and Big Cass and I mean, before Big Cass quit the bottle. I mean, you're talking about Braun and Big Cass, right? And Enzo is drinking with them all night long. So imagine what I look like at the end of the night versus these guys. So I mean,
they've got a natural advantage.
I entered the Rumble plenty of nights. There was always about a Final Four there. Guys like there's guys that could drink and no sell. I ain't one of them.
Next one is the most beautiful woman wrestler or valet in real life.
Well, what happens if we never got to see her?
No, you've got to see him in real life because it's not the same if it's on TV.
This counts as somebody I got to see in real life?
Yeah.
The most beautiful.
I mean, someone we've heard of course.
God, man, I can't say like 1998 Alondra Blaze, like red, white, and blue, fucking bikini top.
Oh, in WCW, yeah,
WCW,
yeah.
We're Vince Russo. We're getting edgy. Okay. Alondra Blaze is doing some of those. And like, I mean, when I was a kid, if Pamela Anderson counts, she's still. I've never seen her in person, but so you're saying in person?
Well, in wrestling that you've shared a locker room with.
The most beautiful girl that I've shared a locker room with in person.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's a hard one.
If you just say there's too many to mention, I'll move on.
Every single one of them are beautiful on the inside and out. They're great people. They're great people. They made it to the top for a reason.
Biggest bully.
Biggest bully in the WWE?
Yeah.
I never had a problem with bullies.
That's fine. We'll move on. Smelliest wrestler.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, biggest
Okay.
bully in WWE, Bully Ray,
Yeah.
scumbag, fucking Uncle Bubba, fucking scumbag.
He's going to be coming up soon. Don't you worry. Smelliest wrestler.
Ooh, had to be some NXT guys who just had some stinky ass gear. I don't remember. There's sweatiest.
Sweatiest.
Stinky and sweaty are two different things. Because there's some guys that get stinky and some guys that get sweaty. And I'll tell you right now, Mojo is one of the sweatiest motherfuckers you could ever get. This guy is on the dance floor sweating bullets. He'll lose more sweat on the dance floor than I will in a wrestling match. That guy is something else.
Next one is the stiffest.
Stiffest guy I've been in the ring with?
Yeah.
Stiff is not a good thing. So, like, if you were stiff with me, I probably never worked with you again.
Okay. How about snuggest?
Like,
snuggest is fair to ask then.
Snug, Dawson, Dax Harwood, everything's safe. You know what I mean? There's guys who just sucked. There's guys who would grab you and they just don't know their own strength, or they're just too fidgety, or they're just like, bro, it's like, dude, relax. I could have a wrestling match with my mom if she sells for me. And if you've ever watched me work, you know that I'll sell for you. So if you're in the ring and you're fidgeting around grabbing me and you're just, dude, what in the world? Like I'm probably going to roll out of the ring like or get out or tag out, because look, dude, I sell for people and I give them my body. And if I feel you and I feel that you're one of those, I'm getting the fuck out. I protect myself. I've been in this business for 13 years now, 14 years. Like, those days are so far done. I mean, I remember being green and beating the shit out of myself and vice versa. The first 2 years of my career. But then you become an asset and you're on TV, and the only job is to stay afloat, because you got to get to the next one. And then you become an independent pro wrestler. And then there is no doctors when you get out of the ring, and there's no ice bags for you, and there's nobody standing there waiting with a glass of water for you, or an athletic trainer with kinesio tape or rub your ankle or ice. Dude, my only job is to get to the next one. And if you don't understand that, then I don't want to share a ring with you. I don't beat the shit out of myself or vice versa. I don't give you a bump I don't want to take.
This is probably not a fair one, but the nicest person in wrestling.
Me, hands down.
You can't say yourself.
No, I have to be able to say myself in this one. I know this for a fact.
Okay.
And if anybody's ever come to a meet and greet and or watched me, like, I am hands down the nicest pro wrestler of all time. And that is all I pride myself on. That is it. It's bada boom, nicest guy in the room, man. That's all I could do for my parents. That's the name they gave me. That's the namesake. That's what I walk around with. That's what I have to be able to promote. When it boils down to it, it's my real name. It's Eric Arndt. It's my family. It's who I am as a real person versus the character that I play on television. So I like to put myself out there as a very nice person, always approachable. And if you take my kindness for weakness, I will punch you in the fucking mouth. So there's that part of it too.
Next one is the, you may have to edit out ones that you can't say, but most memorable thing you ever saw happen on a European tour. I mean, I'm in Manchester. You've been in Manchester
a wrestler that is a Hall of Famer in the lobby fighting with the person who works the front desk at the hotel at around 3:00 in the morning, doing a Hulk Hogan stare down finger point, blacked out, grabbed a mop out of a mop bucket and just spun it around his head like Seth Rollins would the title. And the mop water is just going around this 5-star hotel, hitting every part of this place. And the person's about to call the cops, and this guy just drops the mop and sprints. Apparently got to his room, and the next day I saw him on the bus, and nobody said a fucking word about it.
We're never going to get that name.
You're never going to get the name, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
What country was it in, or do you remember the city?
Oh, England, somewhere in England.
It usually
or
is
France or something. It was a European tour, so Germany, France, England, something.
Now you don't have to give the number, but the best single payoff for an event. So, what was the event where you got the best payoff?
Mania. I think WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is the best payoff. I did a sneaker thing, Champ Sports sneaker watch. And that was very lucrative for me. And some KFC stuff and some Sonic commercials, and when you do like stuff outside the Snickers bar for WrestleMania, that was probably a light envelope.
Do you get paid? So let's say within WWE and you're promoting Snickers or 5 Hour Energy or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, my first quarterly paycheck when I was a rookie coming out the gates, me and Cass were the #1 merchandise sellers right out the gates. So that first quarterly, I would have thought I was about to be a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like it's never going to hit like that one again and again and again, especially when you become a heel and I'm not wearing my certified G shirt anymore. I'm wearing Gucci and Louis Vuitton on TV and telling you can't afford to wear what I'm wearing. So I was a bad guy and your merch sec. So that also needs to reflect in your pay. So that's when you go to probably the office and you say like, hey, I was a babyface. I made this amount of money on merch. I flipped heel. Now my merch sales are suffering. So I want to make more money as a wrestler, getting paid per match, more money because I'm seeing it reflect in my paycheck,
How many shirts did you sell across your career with WWE?
Man, I have no fucking idea. And I wish, I knew then what I know now. You know what I'm saying? But then again, beggars can't be choosers, man. And I was lucky to have a job in that company considering I never wrestled before. They hired me. They gave me my start. So I was very loyal and kind of always took what I was given. Just never really asked for more money. And I probably, I would say one of my biggest regrets in my career is not getting what I was worth. But I also, hey, man, I got the opportunity of a lifetime and I made the most of it and I made the company money. So one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. Eventually, I would like to, reprise the whole My Name Is bit. They own all of it and there's only one place where I could use it. So I worked really hard on that character, and I consider myself a WWE guy, whether anybody likes to say that or not. I learned everything I ever learned about pro wrestling under their tutelage. So,
absolutely. I'm going to ask you one more thing about money. What is the most lucrative thing for you? Is it T-shirts? Is it the figures? Is it the games? Or is it something else as far as
I think
residuals?
I think the video game is a great nut. That first quarter, whenever that game drops and you get that first quarter for that game, that's a great spot. And I'm sure, dude, it's probably different strokes for different folks. Certain people get paid more or less. And,
Next one is, I'm sorry, I'm going to scrub out a couple of these. And I'm going to go for most in trouble with The Office.
Me.
How many times are you summoned to The Office?
I mean, on the reg, when I was in NXT, I was in trouble for some dumbass shit every day. Like drawing penises on the board with a marker. Like I would just turn the threes into shafts, and then the three itself would be the balls. You know what I mean? And I would just put a little like long D at the top of it. And eventually I got caught red-handed turning those threes into penises. They were trying to figure out who was doing that for a few months. So that one got me in some trouble. Got fined for that.
Oh, you got fined as well?
Oh, I was popping the boys with it. I know that. I mean, big pop whenever one of the boys looked over and noticed that one of the threes was casually turned into a shaft. Because it wasn't like I was doing all the threes. It would be like one random three on a workout board for like months that was a penis. You wouldn't even notice it at first glance.
Next.
Then I farted in a Dusty Rhodes promo class, to which Dusty Rhodes kicked me out of it, got me fired that night, called up Triple H in the morning and got me rehired. Then I got fined for farting. I got taken off shows, and I think me and Big Cass went on a losing streak for a while in NXT.
How bad was the fart?
It was the loudest fart I've ever ripped in my entire life, but that's because I thought it was going to be my promo, and I just like I ricocheted off the metal chair I was sitting in, and it just blasted off of it. It came out like a duck quack. And man, I thought that Dusty would think it was funny because Baron Corbin was up there cutting a terrible promo, so I just raised my hand and farted, and I thought it would be that would be my promo. Like I wouldn't need to cut one. But yeah, there was that. And then, all the other times that I missed a bus one time in Europe because I was hungover and I didn't switch my phone over to the new time code. Like your phone's on airplane mode. I mean, you lose your time zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely was too hungover to make that fix, but normally I would have, man. I had an alarm set, just the alarm went off and it was an hour late because I was in a new time zone. So missed the bus, apologized for it, got a bunch of heat for it, didn't matter. Another time, I think I was just drunk in an airport and just you could notice I was drunk. And just not probably a good look because I was being loud probably. And outside of those things, just
what would they fine you for those kinds of infractions back in the day?
I also yeah, I mean, I don't remember, bro. I don't remember. I would get fined for shit like that, and it was like $250 for a fart, like $500 for like drawing dicks on a wall or something like that, like shit like that.
All right, because I was thinking it wasn't like $5,000 or
come out of my
like
paycheck when I was broke, dude. It was like I was in NXT making no money, so that kind of sucked. But by the time I got to Raw, I could afford to, pay some of these fines.
Who was the best celebrity you met through wrestling?
Dave Chappelle.
When was he there? Was he just a fan or was he on the show? I don't remember.
I became a buddy of Dave's. I met him through his manager, Cena, which not John, another guy named Cena. Great guy. Jeff Ross, the comedian, another buddy that I met Dave through and had a lot of drinks and joints smoked with Dave Chappelle and really good guy. Really funny. Watched a lot of his shit. Watched him work on some of his material, and same with Jeff Ross, dude. Just both hilarious people. Tony Hinchcliffe, another great buddy of mine. I ran the first wrestling show, and I had the first wrestling match inside of the world famous Comedy Store. It was my first match outside of WWE in America. I ran it with Tony Hinchcliffe. We put on a wrestling show at the world famous Comedy Store in LA. And we had a great time.
Were you the opener and then it was a comedy show, or was that the entire show?
No, I opened the show. It was a wrestling comedy show, and the main event was the Lucha Brothers, Darby Allin, and Matt Sydal in a fatal four-way. And I was the opener against Brian Pillman Jr. in a one-on-one match. And it was funny because Tony came up to me and was like, all right, you're in the main event, right? And I was like, what are you, fucking stupid? I'm in the fucking opener. I'm in the opener, so this way I can crack a beer, smoke a joint, and enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
But that's A, but B is I get to say I was the first ever wrestling match in the world famous Comedy Store.
Did you make sure that you went out first as well?
No, I didn't. I didn't care about that.
Oh, okay.
All right. Brian Pillman Jr. went out there first, but I went out there second, and I won. So there you go. That's how that goes.
Loudest spot caller.
Well, me and John Cena probably, but I don't call spots, Briz. So you're working with the wrong guy. I call shit on the fly. So when I'm in the ring, I don't have a spot. I have sell. So if I say, hey, put the boot up, you know what comes after that? Not duck to, go behind, fucking go over my shoulder. I'll pick you up for the slam. I don't try calling 10 things in a match. I know how to work. So I just say one thing. So it's usually like put up a boot, give me a clothesline, give me a back elbow, watch the suplex. Those things concern selling after.
The bump that you hated to take the most, or the move that you hated to take the most because you just always get hurt on it.
Fuck, I don't know, man. Some guys body slam you fucked up, dude. Some guys body slam and land me on my lower back, and that to me is like the worst thing you could do. Like, if you vertical suplex me or body slam me, just a generic slam, like I do it myself. So I will cartwheel up you, post, and hold myself there and take my own flat bump. But some guys, they slam you down and or they vertical suplex you and you land before they do. And that shit ain't cool. That ain't I ain't flying with me. I don't like that. And I'm older now, dude. So like it's also different. I'm not on television killing myself where the pay is worth it. It's like I'm on an indie show and you bump me bad. Fuck you, bro. Like, so how about we just don't do that? Baby faces, especially on the indies, we just crumble, bro.
I'll give you a couple more, then we'll have I'll give you a quick break. Best and worst road agents.
Best road agents.
Yeah.
Man, I liked them all, bro. And shit, my job was easy, bro.
Who did you have most often then?
I like Fit Finley. As far as like, I like Norman Smiley. Joey Mercury was unbelievable. Yeah. D Malenko had some cool ass shit. Arnold give you a cool spot, man. Tell you to do something a different way, and it'll always make sense. Triple H, man. Does it get any fucking cooler than having Triple H produce your shit especially when you're young and you're on the come up and you're in NXT and he first comes down there and you're in a match where he gets involved in it and you're like, oh shit. Like, and then by the time you're on Raw, you got Vince or Triple H involved in producing your segment or whatever it is that you're doing. Like, doesn't get any bigger than that. Like, if Vince is sitting there and he wants to have a meeting with you and it's about your whatever you're going to go do, like, doesn't get much cooler than that, like being produced. But just as far as brilliance goes, Joey Mercury was pretty fucking brilliant.
Mm-hmm. I can confirm that as well. I'll give you one more. Right, not involving you, the most memorable backstage fight, or at least confrontation.
Chris Jericho running to the locker room, thinking that Brock Lesnar busted open Randy Orton and he wanted to fight Brock.
Right,
I didn't see it directly. No. I was there. I was in the locker room for SummerSlam because I worked Jericho and Kevin Owens in the opener. And then all of a sudden, the finish happens. And Jericho storms out of the locker room without saying a word. And I think Cass and I think Big Cass and Kevin Owens trailed him. They were like, "Oh shit!" and they ran with him, and they apparently got into Gorilla and helped break it up. I don't know. I didn't go. Bro, I wasn't about to go to the fucking Gorilla with Brock Lesnar and Jericho. Get the fuck out of here! I think I packed my shit up and got out of there before it even hit the fan. But that's probably the most memorable. And then another time, Sin Cara, just dropped Gotch backstage, gave him a black eye, and then the kid walked around with a black eye at work and a smile on his face and got fired like a week later or something like that. I don't remember how that went down, but I just remember sitting in the cafeteria looking over and like, I think a soda can got thrown or something, and I don't remember, bro, but he just dropped him gave him a black eye, and the fucking guy just walked around work wearing a black eye like a jerk off and got fired. That's the only fights I can really remember, bro. There was no other fights to my knowledge that unless they involved me.
we can talk about them at some point. Right, so that is a game over with, and we're going to go into the WWE thing. So I was trawling your Twitter, looking for some stuff that you posted here, there, and everywhere, apart from an octopus that punches fish out of spite. There was something you posted recently, and it was your debut on WWE Raw, and it was actually Bubba Ray Dudley, who'd posted it, and you shared it. And I looked into it, and I was thinking, what a team.
Anytime Bubba tags me in something, I have to repost that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it doesn't even mean I read it or looked at it.
Well, it was your debut. So,
Okay.
I mean, you've got to, I mean, you'll remember that, I'm sure. But, like, to do that against the Dudleys as well, whose idea was it to, like, debut you, bring you on main roster TV that strong?
Shit, man. I don't know. Was it that strong? What was so strong about it? We didn't win and go over in a match right away. Like,
No, but, I mean, you're doing it with the Dudley boys, and then you basically, I think your first league was with the Dudley boys.
Yeah. We worked all over Europe and around the world. And that was because also after my first pay-per-view, I got knocked out cold. And they wanted two guys they trusted to go out there and protect me and make sure that I didn't get hurt again and hurt my head and these marks that you're working with and, you know, trying to hurt people out there and not being pros, like having animosity in their heart and in their testicles and you don't know that because you're just out there giving your body and life to somebody, you know, being a pro. So Bubba and Devon are the consummate professionals, despite what anybody ever has to say about disagreements or gripes or what a hard ass Bubba is in the locker room or whatever it is, you know. I promise you, man, those guys took care of me around the world. They showed me a lot of things as far as, you know, entertaining these crowds internationally without having to kill yourself, how to be a real pro, get the guy to the next town without having to kill himself. And I just came up from NXT where we killed ourselves every single night. We died. We went out there and died. The highest level of pro wrestling in the world was NXT when I was there, because the hunger, the people that wanted to get to Raw. I mean, you try to look at the work that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are putting in. The hunger that goes into getting where they're at right now. Like, dude, they were taking risks. The matches were insane, and they did things that they probably don't do now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, man, like, you learn how to be a real pro once you get to Raw and you look at the paycheck, and your only job is to get another one of those paychecks next week. Because if you ain't wrestling, you ain't getting paid.
Speaking of, is it a good time to bring up the head injury? Let's not even bring up the team. Does the team happen to begin with a V?
Dude, like, look it. We don't even have to bring it up. I mean, look it, dude. You guys watch MMA? Do you watch UFC?
Oh yeah.
How many of your favorite fighters in the history of that business did you see get knocked out? Pretty much all of them. And then they got up and they had another fight after that. Some of them went on to be champions again. Bro, it's part of the business. You get in the ring, you can get hurt out there. You know, it's just when you find out that the person that hurt you hates you after the fact, because they're too big of a pussy to bring it up at the time. That's when you just say to yourself, oh shit, this guy's not a pro. And I don't have it, you know, like, dude, like I've never seen him. They don't have to talk about him, but it's just people, you get knocked out in pro wrestling. It's something that can happen. You get back up, you go back out there, you chase your dreams. You take the risks and you do what you love, and you understand when you sign up for it that there's risks that are involved. So yeah, I mean, we know now in retrospect what was that probably all about. That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? But like at the time, you know, you're looking at somebody baby facing you and apologizing to you and just being a bitch. So I don't know what to say.
What was the concussion protocol at that time? So if you get knocked out,
I was back like 2 weeks later.
Did you have to do the tests and everything? And
I wasn't working hard. I came back in 2 weeks. I'll tell you what, the next day I just felt like I was hammered drunk. I did. I felt like I was hammered drunk. I showed up to Raw. I went to Raw the next day, and I went to Raw and they told me to go home. But I showed up to Raw the next day, and I just went to catering and it was like I was hammered. I just started eating every dessert and everything that was there. And I don't know. I was back in 2 weeks in Baltimore when I came back with Big Cass. And to be honest with you, that's the only time in the history of my career where I kind of think that I might have like forgot where I was for a second.
Mm.
So maybe we could put two and two together. Figure that out. But no, I was fine, man. They took their time with me when I came back with the concussion protocol. Like I think Cass was working 1-on-1 against Bubba or Devon, and the other one of us was just working the floor on live events for like the next few weeks until I got better.
What was the process of you jumping to NXT from to WWE? So a few questions here. So are the new contracts signed? Do you have to renegotiate since your main roster? Do you have a one-on-one meeting with Vince? Do you have a one-on-one meeting to discuss future plans?
You make your you stay on your NXT contract for the first few months. They take care of hotels and rental cars for the first few months. Then after that, you've established enough groundwork where you got some money in the bank, and then you're on your own for your hotels and your rental cars. But to be fair, when we were getting TV hotels, me and Cass weren't really staying at them because the TV hotel is where a lot of the fans end up, where a lot of the office is. And if you're smart, you just want to stay away from that for the scene, for what you can get into, the trouble you can get in at the hotel bar, seeing the office at the hotel bar and somebody asks you to have a drink or something. And, now you're drinking with the office, which is probably not a good idea. I don't know. Just
for appearances with everybody else.
Yeah. I just like mixing business with pleasure is probably just never a good idea in general. So, it's one of those things where it's like in pro wrestling, like, you see a lot of this relationships that happen that go sour and go south, or so it's like you probably learn in time when you're in the business, don't date in the business, or don't fuck fans. You know what I'm saying? It's just you find out in due time, shit like that. So
don't shit on your own doorstep, essentially.
Yeah, don't like. Look, man, you're a pro. I say this to like the girls that are in the WWE at the highest level. Like those girls, man, that are in the WWE at the highest level, they should be dating Ben Affleck and Alex Rodriguez and fucking Derek Jeter and shit. Like you have millions. You might have made hundreds of thousands, if not maybe millions of dollars in the bank. You can pretty much get anybody you want. So why are you going to go shit where you work, shit where you eat where you shit, and then go, settle for a wrestler, a guy that's, you could probably go get like some millionaire motherfucker because you reached the status. You are at the point, girl, where like if you're, I don't know, shit, Bailey should go marry like Michael Rubin. Like fucking the guy, you know what I mean? Like the owner of the fucking Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban. Like, is he single? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he single? You know what I mean? Like people like that. Like you're at a point where you're Sasha Banks, where you're on red carpets and you're hanging out with Meg the Stallion and they're playing your music and Nicki Minaj is talking about you. So like, I don't know if I'm one of those chicks, I'm going for gold, dog, and fucking gold around a guy's waist. Oh, you want a title here, you Mark? Like, bro, fuck that. Like, if unless it's The Rock, you know what I'm saying? No. But he's married, so it's like, I don't know, bro. If I was one of these chicks, I'd be a gold digger. That's just me, man.
Hey, you might as well be. We got some fan questions in as well. David S has written in and said, you often had unique ring gear to reflect the city or country you were wrestling in. How much does a costume cost? And how involved were you in designing them?
I designed every single outfit that I ever wore. I put a little leopard print on everything that I wore. So just when you saw a leopard print shower curtain at Walmart and you tweeted me and you said, oh, I saw this and I thought of you. You thought of me. Mm-hmm. I just got you. So if you're a wrestling fan, you see leopard and now all of a sudden it's synonymous with me. That's marketing 101. So red and gold, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, KFC, red. I popped you with red because red is a color that will get your attention. Red and gold, leopard. These colors will get you. My blonde hair, The blonde hair will get you. You buy a wig. The outfits I put together were all me, you know, and when I was a babyface, I would cater to the babyface audiences and wear, you know, a Union Jack on the inside of my overalls. And before, I was wearing overalls in pro wrestling where you flip the overalls down and there was something written on the inside. I saw it as a marketing opportunity. You know, if I wrote Certified G on the outside and I flipped them down and you have a Union Jack on the inside when I'm in the UK, there's a cheap pop. That's RC Cola right there, babe. That's a cheap pop. And that's like pulling the tables out. So I would build cheap pops into my clothes. But when I turned heel, I started wearing clothes that you people couldn't afford. And I wore a different pair of shoes that was, you know, sometimes I would wear Yeezys or Versace boots and things like that. When I was working as a babyface a lot of the time, I would wear the Jordans that were on the shelves that you could go buy.
Did you, I know this might be a stupid question, but did you ever have to like pay the seamstresses to do work for you when you were at the arenas?
I had to pay. What do you mean? I paid for all those outfits. They were all my money. I purchased every outfit, every single pair of sneakers. I never wore the same shoes twice on television. And it was just all an investment because by the time I'm 2 months into my Monday Night Raw run, I'm getting Champ Sports DMing me about a sneaker deal. And now I got a sneaker deal. So every dollar that I spent on shoes just paid me back tenfold, you know, so that was well worth it.
Did, at the time, if you had like an outside endorsement like that, did WWE want a cut of it?
Well, to be fair, Champ Sports reached out to me and I put Champ Sports in touch with WWE because I didn't want to go over the company's head and I wanted to work with the company. And luckily for me, they were able to see the vision and understand that sneakers was an area that I could infiltrate, a market where you get a lot of clickbait and your name's all over the internet because sneaker blogs are picking up what you're wearing on your feet in the NBA offseason. Who's debuting these brand new Jordans that just came out? You want to see them in action? Well, you could see them on a wrestler, but you're not going to see them on TV when there is no NBA games. So I was really stepping in a world of shit that we see right now has taken over pro wrestling. I mean, the sneaker game, you're welcome.
Hey, the Young Bucks are doing it now with like Reebok, I think, at the moment.
Brother, they got a relationship with Champ Sports that was bridged through Enzo. So you're welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Reebok. Okay. Everyone from Champ Sports DMing me in 2016. That's how this all started. Every single sneaker you see, all the Reebok deals, the Puma deals, Mosh making custom deals with Puma. Mosh first sneakers he created for a wrestler was Nikki and Brie Bella, the Bella twins. To my knowledge, the first sneaker he put on a male talent was me. And Mosh has his own sneaker company now. And he really did a lot for pro wrestlers. Pro wrestling continues to. And he was a huge fan, and I was lucky to work with him because he's so fucking talented.
Going to the roster at the time, 2016 to 2018, let's say. Who were the main event talent who were most gracious with their time? So I don't know if you were type who would go and ask advice, but who were the guys who were most gracious with the time or would give you a compliment?
I think a lot of people get to a point, man, where you got to realize, dude, if you're asking for advice, then you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, get the fuck out of my way, bro. I don't want advice. I don't want your advice, so I don't ask for it. I don't need advice from somebody when I know what I'm doing. Right? Mm-hmm. You get to a point where you went through NXT. You went through the rigors. And if you're in the main event of Monday Night Raw, who are you going to call for advice? Shit, I would call Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't talking to people about the main event that weren't in the main event. I was in the main event. And I'm calling Stone Cold Steve Austin to ask him what he would do, because as far as I was concerned, nobody was doing what I was doing at that time, and I couldn't ask for advice from somebody who didn't know what it is that I was trying to achieve. I was trying to be The Rock. I was trying to be Austin, and I was trying to tell people to get the fuck out of my way when I was on my way there. So I wasn't really walking around asking for advice I didn't want. I had already gone through the rigors of NXT to where I was told what to do. Who I asked Kevin Owens in the car ride and Sami Zayn about their main event match that they just had for 20 minutes and tore the roof off. Where I watched, Pac, who I rode around the world with. That's a guy who I would ask for advice because he was my best friend. and I drove around the world with him, and he was it was me a lot of the time, Wyndham and Pac, and me and Wyndham and Braun Strowman. So you don't ask for advice like the guys that are in the main event or whatever, dude. No, like if you're driving with people and you want to bounce ideas off of each other, you're not necessarily seeking advice as much as you're seeking camaraderie, friendship, brotherhood, and where the money's made. Just in car rides, discussing the business and your love and your passion that you share with other people. So it's not like I need to go to the guy who I just watched in the main event. Like, don't get it twisted. Me and Cass get called to the main roster. We're sitting outside of the curtain when Randy gets out of the ring, or Seth gets out of the ring, or Ambrose, or whoever it is, Roman, with waters, waiting for the main event to get out of the ring. Me and Cass are the opening act. And we're going to stick around until the show's over, and we're going to hand them waters. And we're going to listen to them talk about their matches and what went wrong or what went right, or watch the changes they make from night to night and be a student of this game. I don't need to ask questions when I'm watching and getting my answers. Why'd you do this certain way? And then the next night you changed it, and I know why, because I'm a pro.
Did you actually speak to Steve, or was that just an example? Steve Austin, I should say.
Oh, no, that's exactly who the fuck I was talking to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was he telling you?
DTA's a shoot, kid. Don't trust anybody, boy. Get changed by yourself. Fucking hide out. Don't talk to the boys. Ride alone. Fucking get to the top. You got to stay at the top. You got to fucking DTA's a shoot. That'll send you for a whirlwind, dude. Yeah, you're right, dude. Bro, he grew up in a cutthroat world. You know what I mean? Like the most cutthroat. And he had to slit throats to get where he wanted to be. And man, you need to be a politician to get to the top in pro wrestling. You really, really do. And I think even Hunter, said it to me one time and made it ring and make sense. That definitely in retrospect now more than ever is that don't you understand that you need to be liked by everyone, that you need to work with everyone, and in order to have success in this business, you need to get over with the people who matter, and that is the talent. So you need to get over with the boys, because without that, you can't win. Like you think that you're going to go out there and Sheamus or Cesaro or Samoa Joe or AJ Styles are going to sell for you, Enzo, and let you look good in the match, and then let you put them over clean in the middle, 1, 2, 3, or Randy Orton. It's never going to fucking happen for you, Enzo, if you don't fucking get over with all of them and make them all love you and make them want to work with you. But when you're me and you're in that position and you have Vince McMahon putting you in main events, you're kind of jaded. You're like, fuck them. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money, and it becomes a fucking dicey game. And it becomes, sometimes you just say to yourself, like, man, it's probably easier to be a politician than to be hated by everybody, but jealousy woes when you get to the top. People are going to hate you just because of the opportunities you're getting that they're not getting, that they feel they deserve, that they haven't earned, or vice versa, or you haven't, so I think there's a lot that goes into it. But I also know now that the things that, you let bother you then, just as a human, as a man, as you grow, there's things that wouldn't, you couldn't get under my skin if you tried with certain things now that you probably could then.
Still, it was good advice though. Don't DTA. It is still good advice, I guess. Don't trust anyone.
Yeah, and get over.
And get over.
And the other part of it was get over. Fuck them all. What are they going to do if you keep getting over? What are they going to do if you keep getting over, Enzo? Nothing. They're going to have to kiss your ass. And that was kind of the thing. It was like, shit. Like, oh, man. Fuck. But, man, I'll never know. I mean, I went out in a ball of flames with a title around my waist, and I was in a 3-hour thread of the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw that never happened. So I was supposed to be in all 3 hours of that TV show with a match against Goldust, my mentor's son. So... fuck, I don't know where I stand or where I stood. And you never know. Like, it could have been the next night that you lose the title. They could always change their mind. It doesn't matter.
So with the title, obviously, you go to 205 Live. You were with Big Cass on the main roster for like a year, pretty much exactly. Why did you two split up? Because I've got a theory. Was it because Austin Aries left and they needed a new star for 205 Live? Was that it?
Oh no, that has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I didn't even know he was in 205 Live. What happened was I was got screws and rod that's in my right leg, and I was supposed to get it removed. So we started writing me off of TV to go get surgery, to go get my legs, screws and rods replaced. And then all of a sudden, the angle of finding me laying backstage picked up and became the hottest angle on TV. And now they're looking at me and they're like, "Hey, bro, you got more steam than you've had. Like, do you want to walk away from this, or do you want to try to push the surgery off until later? As long as I can go, I can go." So I just said, "Fuck it, I'll push the surgery off. I'll join the cruiserweight division when me and Big Cass break up, and Cass will get his push, and I'll get mine, and then hopefully one day we'll come back, rekindle, and make business and money together as enemies who win singles championships, who never won tag team championship, and then come back and try to get those tag titles together, hopefully down the line." You know, that's just kind of the story that writes itself. I mean, I'm always going to be married to him. So I went on to win a cruiserweight title. Cass beat Big Show at SummerSlam, tore his ACL the next day, but I think he was obviously in line for a big push. When he did come back, he worked right with Daniel Bryan off the rip. So unfortunately, things didn't work out for him, and he's in a way better place now. So I just think that they needed to take advantage of the hot storyline, and the hottest way to take advantage of it was to break up me and Cass. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It made the most sense. Like, who's finding him laying backstage? Like, do we want to spin this off and do a feud, or do we want to make this the #1 rating straw in the WWE? Like, we could spin this to where Enzo gets hurt and he's home, and now Cass is fighting whoever it was that was laying out Enzo. But the money is in Enzo and Cass breaking up. So while people think that, like, we shouldn't have broke up, they should have never broke you up. Like, bro, the tide was starting to turn on us. Like, I don't think that people realize, like, certain demographics and certain places we went to, like the smart marks, were turning on us. Like, we were starting to get heel reactions from certain crowds, booed by certain people, and it was best for business, I think, to break us up, because look at what happened. I mean, I was on my way. I was doing great business.
So right? There was nothing that you fought then creatively and said, "Man, it's not time yet."
I actually fought becoming a heel. Yeah. I did not want to turn heel. They turned me heel in a promo where Miz just buried me on a microphone for 10 minutes, and I could not rebuttal. If I rebutted, I was getting fired. So if I picked up the mic and I said a word, I was going to get fired that night. They told me, because I knew I could flip this crowd and turn them face for me again and boo Miz if I have a microphone. I don't give a fuck what you write in that script. Watch me work this stick and flip this crowd again, just like Cena does every night. Boo, yeah. Because I knew how to work. I knew how to work the mic. So I knew I was going to flip them. And they told me if I picked up the microphone that I would get fired. The only rebuttal that I could say was, "Miz, the question isn't how you doing. The question should be to your wife, who's your daddy?" So that turned me heel. That's making a real bad guy out of me, especially after all I just ate on the microphone, So I wanted to rebuttal, and they wouldn't let me. So they turned me heel that night, and I was so fucking angry I wanted to kill somebody, because I had worked so hard in my life to be a babyface. Bro, 6 years of my career just thrown away as a babyface, where I never wanted to give up, where I wanted to be that guy like Cena, where kids can do my dance and buy my wig and look up to me and say that this is our guy. Well, you could come out and boo me, half of you, and half of you can cheer me, but I know how to work the mic, and I'll get what I need to get over and make the match work for me. And they knew what they had in me as a heel is the most marketable thing in all of sports. And that is, to quote Chael Sonnen on the most recent podcast he did with Andrew Souls on Flagrant. Chael Sonnen said, "The most marketable thing in all of sports is a cool heel." Look at McGregor. Look at Conor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Tyson. Look at Enzo. Look at Stone Cold. Look at The Rock. Look at Kevin Owens now. A cool heel is the most marketable, monetizable thing in sports. You can make more money off of a cool heel than you can. So by them flipping me heel and me being a cool heel with the purple title and playing the Ric Flair, I got the Gucci shoes and the alligator loafers and fucking you can't afford this shit and look at my wristwatch and all that. I'm just playing up to this character that is so monetizable, so over the top that you're going to have him sitting, at the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, picking a fight with the title. You know what I mean? Like that is the most monetizable thing in sports. So I was on my way to that. What you see them paying for outside of the company, Logan Paul, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was writing a recipe on Jake Paul and Logan Paul before they even became who they are. And quite frankly, I was backstage with Logan Paul when he was doing Champ Sports sneaker watch interviews with me on my social media, and he was just a child with a Justin Bieber haircut. This is facts. This is real life. So you go and you get that kid because he's a genius. He's brilliant. Logan, give him credit, and he can go. But man, you give me Shawn Michaels as my personal coach for a fucking few months and put me out there in the ring with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, or Ricochet, the best wrestlers in the world, I better be able to go out there and pull it off. If you're a star, you're going to pull it off. And I've been a star in the biz, and I know what it's like to lose all steam to go and be Mickey Rourke on the Indies. So, like, there's nothing you could say about me that can't be said. I'm Eminem in 8 Mile, and I do this shit. And I'll go out there and I'll have fun and tear it up in an armory with 20 people, or I'll go out there when my time is, when my time is up, your time is now, when it's my fucking time again, which I do believe there'll be a day in the sun for me because you can't hold a good man down. And I just believe in myself. So you got to want this. And wrestling doesn't come to you if you don't want it. And I want it.
What's the goal for you then? 2024, 2025, 2026. What's the ultimate goal for you and what you were striving to achieve?
My goal, by the time it's 2025, I hope that you get to sing it along with me and spell it out with me. By the time we look at 2025, I would hope that somewhere in the annals of WWE history that I will be recognized once again and join the alumni section, bare minimum. That is my goal, to just be, like to have a career like I had and to for people not to acknowledge it. You want to talk about acknowledge me? Fuck you, man. What? Like, so throw some acknowledgement this way. So that would be it, man. Just to have an opportunity to do the thing that I love at the highest levels in the world. I do it at the highest level in the world, but not at the highest level in the world. So I'm wrestling around the clock all the time. Man, this is what I do. It's my career. So I'm just if I'm not thinking about it, I'm not watching it. If I'm thinking of a promo, I'm doing it. I'm in the ring. So wrestling is my life again, and I love that. And I love that I didn't let a world that made me and broke me, define me. That I am who I am, and I'm a good man. That's all I care to be, a good person. You meet me at the meet and greet, I want you to walk away saying he was a good guy, and I think that I'll be recognized by those same people that made me once again as just that, one of them. If it wasn't for an opportunity of a lifetime with John Cena and Triple H and Dusty Rhodes and all that shit, man, I never make it. Because the fans are the reason why I got booked every week, because they saw a guy who they did not know it, but they knew it. You can't lie to people. When it's 5:30 in the morning and I'm beating all my colleagues to work every single day and I'm getting my ass kicked because I don't understand how this thing works and I'm getting taken advantage of, and then I'm getting out there and I'm putting on a show and I'm risking it every single night and I'm never calling out sick and I'm always showing up and I'm making all these kids dance and all these kids smile and I'm taking the time after a show to sign autographs and to meet these people. I hope that you know when you watched that it was so organic you can't fake it. It was real. The people are the reason why I was on TV, because I was one of them. I was the kid who got an opportunity of a lifetime like you. Imagine somebody just offered you a WWE contract and said, hey, sink or swim. Well, I was swimming. I was Michael Phelps because the people have my back. Without them, I don't get booked. Without them, I'm not on TV. Without them, I'm not in the main event, because every single time I went out there, it was just an opportunity to prove to the world that I belong, that I'm here, that I'm the kid who never wrestled before, and you guys all look at me like I don't deserve to be here. But you know deep in your fucking heart, I showed up to work before you every fucking day, and I left last. I took the ass kickings, and I signed all the autographs, and I made all the people laugh, and I did it with a smile on my fucking face, bro, and they all saw it. So they don't talk shit. You don't hear people at the top talking shit. Give me a microphone on television, I get to run it. I get to tell you the truth. And ain't nobody going to come from the back and bury me for it, because they know it's fucking true. I beat you to work every day, and it's not a coincidence that when I showed up, the people went fucking crazy for it, because I had it harder than anyone, and people can relate to that. People in the crowd relate without even knowing. They're watching somebody who wants something more than anyone. They're watching somebody who wants it so bad, he's willing to go out there and take risks and get his ass whipped, and willing to take risks on the microphone that could cost him his career, but always work out because his intuition and his gut and his instincts are fucking good.
Do you know WWE is going to Netflix as well? So you can take more risks there next year if you do end up going back to WWE.
This is what I'm just trying to address, is that the worst case scenario for anyone in the WWE on the main roster, I don't care who you are, don't care who you are, the worst case scenario for anyone in their career would be to hear my fucking music when they're standing in the ring. You tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you you're an idiot. I hope Paul Heyman's out there with a microphone. Let's give the people what they want to see. Because every time I saw Paul Heyman in a hallway, Paul Heyman looked at me and said, aha, promo God. If that was a lie, do you think that I would say it on camera and look into the camera and say it like that? I'm the realest guy in the room. This isn't a lie. This is what Paul Heyman called me. Promo God. If there's one guy I would want to work on the stick in this business, give me the guy you all consider to be the best at it. Give me Paul fucking Heyman. You hit my music and that man is standing in the ring with a microphone. That's not even a wrestler there. That's not even a wrestler. That's just Enzo, the guy who Paul Heyman called Promo God, meeting him on stage to do the thing that we do better than anyone in the world. That is a reaction, that is a rating, and that is real. And look, it has to, it's the inevitable one day that I'm the greatest promo of my generation, and I'm out there with the greatest promo of his generation, The Rock. I just, like, how does this not happen? For me, it's a manifestation of my childhood dreams. Like, I have a picture of me that I showed Dwayne Johnson backstage of me holding his action figure on Christmas morning, the happiest kid in the world in front of my Christmas tree, holding his toy. And when I met Dwayne Johnson backstage at Staples Center, I showed it to him, and he posted a picture of us on his Instagram. And that was really cool. But that was my hero when I was a kid, you know? That's who so the whole goal, you know, is to have your idols become your rivals. So if I look at the top of the business, that's where I see myself. That's where I want to be. And I'm gunning for somebody's spot. And if you're in the WWE right now, and you know that I'm out here working as hard as I am on the indies, wrestling every single weekend, shaking hands and kissing babies and doing all the right things, I would be fucking so fearful of the man who has to stand in front of me. Like I'm the guy that you have to fear. I'm the one that you're not thinking about right now. I'm the one who's not at work with you every day that you're not thinking about. But when I show up, shit is going to hit the fan. Shit is going to hit the fan, because any man can piss on the floor. It takes a great man to shit on the ceiling.
Make it happen. Make it happen in 2025 then, absolutely. We are, you mentioned about 10 minutes ago, Big Cass. You mentioned, obviously, he was having personal issues. We won't get into them. It's nothing that he's not said publicly, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
he,
how I always mention it to people is, he's just looking to inspire people. So
Yeah. Well, he's currently having a bit of a career renaissance with Chris Jericho on AEW as Big Bill. I don't know how much
cool.
you've. Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, how much have you seen of Big Bill in the last year, and what's
honestly,
your appraisal of him?
I'd be lying to you. He probably has seen more of me on the indies than I've seen of him on TV. I'll send him a match or two of mine here and there. Just to think, because he knows that when I work, a lot of the times I work green guys and I work them on the fly. So I just call it in the ring completely on the fly. And those are the ones that I send to Cass so that he gets it. We'd be in FCW or NXT and you'd be sitting in the crowd and you're on the chopping block, you're going to get fired. And they just randomly call two wrestlers in the ring. And you got to work on the fly. And those are the most high pressure situations that I witnessed while I was in the WWE. Imagine going out there and you're in NXT and they just call up randomly. Shit. All right. Big Cass and Juice Robinson. And now all of a sudden Juice and Big Cass have to have a match on the fly in front of Triple H, William Regal, Dusty Rhodes, all these people. And your job is on the line because you're on the chopping block. If you go out there and you don't perform well, they might fire you. And we've seen it happen to a lot of people. So I think I put myself in the pressure cooker by doing it every single time I wrestle. Mm-hmm. I'll see you out there and I'm going to pull a rabbit out of a fucking hat. So
how many other people at that time did that? How many other people could work on the fly at that point in the mid-20s?
I have no idea who does it on. You can't in the WWE because you're going to be produced. You're going to have a producer, an agent, cameras, and people that, if you're working with Cena, he's the only one you got to deal with. And a lot of the time that is John Cena working on the fly. I'll see you in the ring, right? But how many John Cenas are there? How many Randy Ortons are there? So I can't sit here and tell you like who does that and who doesn't that's there because I don't think anybody gets that opportunity because and they'd be cheating the crowd and the audience if they probably didn't produce it. But magic can certainly happen on the fly. And I just worked at Stampede against Mo Jabari, who is Bret Hart's adopted son. And Bret was there, and I worked on the fly, called the match in front of Bret, and by that I mean I called the finish, and that was it. And so Bret Hart witnessed me go out there and call a match to his stepson on the complete fucking fly in the dungeon at Stampede Wrestling, and that was like bucket list shit for me. Because I can never do that in the WWE. When I'm in the WWE, I got to talk to my producer. I got to talk to the cameraman. I got to know, you know what I mean? What the angle is, what the story is, what it is. Also, Enzo, I'm running around, a scared shitless heel, Ric Flair-esque, begging off. And when I was working with Mo, I just went into the dungeon and wrestled. It wasn't sports entertainment. I did not entertain as much as I just entertained you through the thing that we love, pro wrestling. The more you wrestle, the more we get into it, the more sweat that drips off of us, the more one guy's selling, the better the match is. That was the vibes. And I've been doing that on the indies now for a few years where I just call it all out there on the fly. And to me, that's the most gratifying way to do this. It's also different than what I used to do when I was in the WWE. I've gone into this thing where every single movement from my facial expression to the way I duck the punch or hit the ropes to where I'm selling to is choreographed in my brain or with the opponent that I have, and we call spots. Now it's bullet points. Like, dude, if I wrestle a guy a lot of the time, it's like, what moves do you do, bro? And he's like, oh, I do a drop kick, a super kick, and a pile driver. And I'm like, all right. My finish is eat the feet. And I do a DDT off the second rope. Have you ever seen me do it? You have. Okay. Well, then I don't need to explain it to you. I'll see you out there. And if I know that you could do a drop kick, a pile driver, and something else, I'm just going to fucking call them when the time is right. So that has been the coolest thing I've done outside of the WWE is I've worked matches on the fly, and I've worked guys in their first ever match. ever on the fly. So
That's got to be terrifying as well, because you don't
not
know
for
what
me.
you're going to get.
No, not for me, brother. I know something, dude. Grab a fucking hold. Like this, I'm never scared to go out there. There's never space between me and the guy. I use my referee a lot when I'm working. I talk to the ref and tell him to go tell the other guy what the fuck is up. And I make it fun for me and the kid who I'm in the ring with. Because, like I said, when I'm calling these matches, I'm not calling a match to Shane Douglas. You know what I mean? To RVD and Too Cool Scorpio. I work those guys on the indies, but when I work RVD and Too Cool Scorpio, it's like, what do you guys want to do? Right? You know what I mean? Like, let me show you some fucking respect. You're the vet here. When I go out there against a 22, 23-year-old kid who just got his, start in the business, and I go, hey, I'll see you out there. They shit a brick, and then we get out there and we lock up and they calm the fuck down and we have fun. And to me, that's the most gratifying thing I could do in wrestling right now is go out there against a kid that wants to wrestle me, that is going to get something out of it and do this in a way that he didn't even know was possible.
I'm going to give you a couple more questions, then we'll do the final game. Then I will thank you for your time. So, you were in MLW last year. You wrestled Jacob Fatu. He's just made it to WWE.
No, I mean, we never really danced. The match started and I jumped him with a fucking lead pipe on the ankle, which in the WWE, if you hit a man with a lead pipe in the ankle, that guy, like, he's out for a long time or he's going to the hospital. But in MLW, you hit a man with a lead pipe, he's probably going to go out there and wrestle the next match. So I don't fucking know, dude. Jacob Fatu is by far and away one of the most talented wrestlers in the world right now. Period. I don't care what promotion he works for. When he was in MLW, he was that. So all it takes is the stage. It's like I just said to you. Look, I could work on the indies just like Jacob Fatu did these past few years, or do a shot here, MLW there. He never showed up on AEW TV, TNA, and he never showed up on WWE TV until recently.
Mm-hmm.
But when you bring somebody in who can go, who is good at what they do, and you put them in a major spot with major spotlight on a giant stage, that's how you make stars, man. So I think he's going to be a fucking star in the company there. And that's all it takes. Dude, it's the WWE, man. There's one WrestleMania, there's one giant dance, and that's it. Like, that's it. So all these other companies, they're second fucking fiddle, whether they want to admit it or not. They're second fucking fiddle. And sometimes there's no problem being the fucking fiddler and joining the dance. Like, hey, TNA is doing work with NXT, and I hear it's awesome. I'm not watching it. I don't know, but I hear that it's awesome.
One more question, then we'll get to the last game. Meng for now has written in, says, a few years ago, Tama Tonga challenged you to a boxing match to raise money for charity. What happened?
No, it was a wrestling match.
Oh, but he's written boxing match. He's given me bad information this time.
To be honest with you, man, I'd still look at. Hopefully we see that guy down the line, right?
Oh, he's in WWE now, so
I know, man.
You get WWE charity boxing match.
Fuck the bloodline. Fuck them all. How about that? How about that? Is that what you wanted to hear?
That'll do it.
Was that the soundbite you needed? Fuck them all. No. You guys don't want to see fucking Real1 out there. I know that. They don't want me to slice and dice out there. It's all about the stage. It's all about the opportunity, and it's all about where you're at. So look, you are a star if they make you a star.
We're going to go to the final game now. It's basically the same as name association, but pretty much opposite. I'm going to give you a name of a person. You can tell me nothing about it if you want. You can say thumbs up, maybe even a little story if it's worth telling a little story. And the first one is Matt Cardona.
I would call him a pro, man. Like, backstage, an example guy, in the WWE, he was, suit and tie guy, held a job for fucking what, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So he's just a pro. He's a pro's pro. He's good at what he does. And he took to social media like a blitzkrieg when he got fired, and he never let off the gas. I think a lot of young wrestlers, especially ones that get fired, can learn a lot from him. If I was trying to do what he did, like you can't do it better than what he's doing. Like I never wanted to be that guy, and I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the deathmatch king. I have zero desire to ever work for GCW.
So you're not a
I've never-
Thumbtacks fan then, is what you're saying?
Brother, you couldn't pay me to do any of that shit. So I don't work for companies that do that shit. I don't like it. I never did, never will, never got over with me. When I watch pro wrestling, I watch the AWA, the NWA, I watch WWF, I watch WWE, I watch WCW, and I go back and I watch Bret fucking Hart, and I watch Shawn Michaels, and I watch the Rockers, and I watch Ric Flair. Okay, I watch the greatest to ever do this shit. I watch The Rock. All right. To be fair, I would rather be The Rock hitting Mick Foley over the head with the chair shots than Mick Foley taking the chair shots. Okay. And I don't even think I would want to be involved in that, because if I did that to you, I would expect it to happen to me. That's what I've always done my whole career. Like it's kind of like Vince. I'll never ask you to do something I wouldn't do. Well, I don't want to fucking be suplexed off the top through 3 tables and thumbtacks, so I wouldn't do it to you. You know what I mean?
Next one is Mojo Rawley.
My first roommate in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
WWE put us together. He is my day one. He's a real one, a man of his word. Financially, one of the most sound men I've ever met in my life. Great for real life advice. Brilliant businessman. Smart with his money. And a good human.
Booker T.
Booker T did something for charity, asked me to work with him on it. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. He has the wrestling school. He helps a lot of young kids, and I know that he still gets people from WWE to work with him on his WWE. Like they sent Brian Pillman Jr. to go work his indie. I know that, and he's in NXT. So I thought that was really cool. Booker's the fucking man, bro. He's one of the best wrestlers of his generation, and is he a Hall of Famer yet? If he's not,
he's a 2-time Hall of Famer. He was in with the Hall of Harlem Heat as well now.
Yeah, I would bet. Yep.
Next one is Paige, or Saraya, as she's called now.
Oh, sweetheart, man. I started off, working with her in FCW to see her, all her success, the movie come out, to go get the bag from Tony Khan. I pray for her longevity in this business and her success. I'm so proud of her and what she's accomplished, because, I know it wasn't always easy for her, and a lot of people talk shit, and a lot of people had a lot to say on her on the internet. And I think that a lot of these women are examples of having thick skin, being able to fucking persevere despite what the world might call you, say about you, or do, to be able to hold your head high and go out about your business and be a professional at the highest level now, making good money doing it. She's an example for people that, you don't let other people dictate your happiness. You go get it, and you go get your money, and you go do this thing that you love, and don't let other people ruin it for you.
Well said. R-Truth.
It's OG. Just straight up. Just as consummate of a pro, just like I was saying about Cardona. R-Truth has that to him too. Like, don't let the perception of that man and what he does as a pro or a comedian or a wrestler fool you. That guy has maintained and held a job at the highest levels in pro wrestling for 15, 20 years, and you don't get there unless you're a consummate professional. So he is that.
Dude, he's ageless as well. He's in his 50s now, and he's still doing the same stuff, still looks fantastic. How does he do it?
I don't know. I hope I could do it too.
Yeah, goddamn, I do as well. Bryan Danielson.
I never got a chance to work with him much, but I was surprised to hear from Big Cass that he was a fan of my work in ring. I heard he was talking to the boys at AEW about my selling and telling them to watch me sell, which is fucking nuts. Like I would never expect to hear that. Probably not even true, but no, apparently Big Cass and a few of the boys came up to me on the indies and told me he was putting me over and talking about my selling. Shit, real recognize real, man. He's one of the fucking, he's goats, right? Got the goat beard. And he is that thing, man. He's awesome, bro. He's always been a great guy, and I'll never be able to thank him for what he did for Big Cass at a time in Big Cass's career where he was really going through some tough things. I wasn't there for my best friend at the time. We weren't talking to each other, so to know that somebody else stepped in and was really careful and caring, that's
Mm.
important. I think being caring is a quality of Brian that is very admirable, and he's a good ear from what I understand. He's willing to listen to the boys and see both sides and try to be the cool head that prevails.
Samoa Joe.
Learned a lot from OG.
Mm-hmm.
OG, man, taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about psychology of putting a match together
Mm.
and working with others to get what you want.
Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Moné, as she is now.
She's the homie. She killed it. So proud of her. When I saw her on Star Wars, I think I texted her instantly and was like, "You fuck." I'm smack talking Skywalker over here, eating my heart out. Oh, so happy for her. There was no jealousy involved in that. No, I was just so happy for her.
Low key.
Only got to meet him and never worked with him. Shook his hand, let him know he's a psychopath, and I appreciate what he does. So
I'll give you a few more and I'll let you go. Rusev, we'll say.
came up with him at the beginning stages. Saw his career. He suffered some bad neck injury. You thought it was over for him, and he's an example of how quickly things can change for you because he was working NXT on the brink of getting fired with a neck surgery that just happened, and I think they were about to fire his ass. Next thing you know, dude, he's working John Cena in main events on Monday Night Raw because John Cena needed a big heel, saw him work, liked him, and wanted to work with him or something like that. So, how fast life can change for you. That guy's a
Mm-hmm.
great example of, hey, one day you're about to get fired, the next day you're working in the main event with Cena. So,
I mean, this sort of works with the next guy as well. One day he's a wrestler, but now he's carved his niche, however you pronounce it, in commentary. Corey Graves.
honestly, man, I would love to see that guy again. We experienced a lot of our the start of our careers together, and I think that um, I'm happy for him and Carmella that whatever they found was so genuine that they brought a child into this world out of it, and that everything happens for a reason in life, you know. So, um, at the time when they first got together, I know that it was you know, a big shock to the world per se, but obviously they're proving to the world that they love each other, and that's awesome that they found each other at work. So I know there's a lot of couples that find love at the WWE, and I think that that's pretty important to acknowledge that when you meet your wife at work or you meet your husband at work, they already did for you more than you could ever. You can never repay them for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they found something there between the two of them that the WWE, provided them. That's very, very fucking special. That's cool that they found love for each other and they got married, and that happened after I had left the company. So I'm happy for him because I know he has he found love and he's got family, he's got kids that I'm sure that he's a big part of their lives as well. So as a father, you're just happy for the man as a father. Like I never really got to know him as a person. But I think that he is one of those people when you talk about advice, he's one of the guys that you would actually want to ask questions. He's been in all the meetings for all the TVs. He watched every single match. He commented on all of them. Those are the people, the Jim Rosses, the Jerry the King Lawlers, you want to get with the commentators. Those are not necessarily the wrestlers, but the guys who watch every single thing, who are in every single meeting, who are privy to how this thing really is going on. And that person, you could probably learn a lot from. So, unlike a lot of people, I think I could learn a lot from Corey fucking Graves.
I'll give you three more. Shane McMahon.
Cool as fuck. Gave me a pair of Jordan 1s, Derek Jeter Jordan 1s that I'll never be able to repay him for. My coolest sneaker.
Yeah, you say it over there. Was it a sneakerhead? Like somebody who's just obsessed with these?
Both of us
shoes?
are sneakerheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bo Dallas.
I am hoping and praying that we get to see the work that I know he's capable of as far as, an in-ring performer goes. Man, you got to remember when Triple H took over NXT, who was his champ? Bo Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of his guys that helped propel NXT at the time when we started this thing off and shit. And Bray Wyatt was my best friend. That's my best friend's brother. There is one guy in this business who deserves this opportunity more than anyone in the world, and it's him, man. He can fucking wrestle with the best of them. He can go. He can get in the ring with Sami Zayn and give you a fucking 5-star match. He can do it with The Undertaker. He can do it with fucking Great Khali. This guy can just wrestle, flat out work. And to know that they are investing this much in keeping Bray's vision alive through his brother, all I can do is hope and pray that they do it right and that we don't look at it and say, oh, it was this person or that person or a bad booking or a bad angle or a bad story. It's like, if the truth is, just let the guy work. Give him the opportunity to work, and he could he's going to kill it. So I think that you're looking at the birth of one of the biggest stars maybe in pro wrestling. Hopefully that we look back at this in a decade and we say, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, fucking, filled the shoes that no other man could fill, didn't try to, created a new pair of sneakers, fucking went out there and just did his own thing. That's what Wyndham would want. Mm-hmm. But I know Bo, and I know what he would want. He wants to keep his brother's legacy alive. So to see both of those things is going to be enamoring. I hope and pray for the best for him and his career. And if given the opportunity, I think I would make absolute magic with him. I think that would be a opponent that would bring out the best in each other, because I think that there would be a whole lot of Wyndham in that match. A whole lot of feeling and emotion in that match.
I had one more name here, and I've scrubbed it out because I thought to end on someone else would be wrong, because you mentioned Bray Wyndham Rotunda a couple of times. You were great friends with him back in the day. So instead of what I was going to ask, why don't we end on a nice story or a nice thought about Bray?
Bray, nice story. My first ever wrestling match, I went out against Big E in Largo, Florida. And as I was going to the fucking curtain to go through, I had on sunglasses that had like a dangly thing on. I had like a hat on, like a bandana. I had on a shiny leopard print jacket. And I was stripped of all that shit. Don't know why. The head coach at the time, Bill DeMott, said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Take that shit off. You're just wearing your tights." I was like, "Wait, what?" So now I got to go out there in just my tights and lose to Big E in his finish, the big ending. But Big E was doing a thing called a 5 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he hits you with his finish, and then he makes the referee count 2 more, so we get 5. But he hits you with, but then the crowd chants again and again and again. So then he does his finish to you again. The big ending. Well, the first time I went out there, I didn't get a microphone. I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have any way to look cool. I just went out there in tights. But they didn't have to fucking hand me a microphone, because I was talking shit from the second I went through the curtain, louder than anybody did on a microphone that day. I cut promos all the way into the ring, and Big E just squashed me. And when he beat me, all the boys were up top watching the match, and I could see Bray Wyatt. And I took the finish for Big E, the big ending, and I pushed myself up in the air and did an inside-out bump. And the people jizzed themselves. Then he hit me with his finish again. I pushed myself up in the air and did a backflip and landed on my head. Then he hit me with the big finish again, and I did another fucking crazy bump like an inside out, and I landed crazy looking. When I got through the curtain, the head coach, Bill DeMott, told me I'm a fucking asshole. What do you fuck you? Who do you think you are? You're going to get fired. What the fuck are you trying to kill yourself? You look like a fucking idiot. ... Well, when I got up through the fucking locker room, there was fucking Wyndham crying, laughing, hysterical, loved every second of what it is that I just did, and put his arm around me and let me know I'm good with him. Brother, you good with me, boy. You gonna be all right, boy. Like, and that's literally him. You gonna be all right, brother. Oh, we got you now. Oh, you fucking did that shit, brother. And it's that meant the world to me. You don't understand. Like, that was my first match, and then I come through the curtain, and Husky Harris, who just came down to repackage his Bray Wyatt with this road money, and this guy's got a wife and a family at the time. Like, this guy is a grown man. He's been a wrestler involved in the business his whole life. His dad's IRS. If he co-signs you, the rest of the locker room does too. So it was in that moment that I earned the respect of Bray Wyatt and got over with him, as you would say. You go out there and you perform like I did, which is the Enzo guy that you guys all got to know and see, but this is the first time anybody's ever seen him, really. And Wyndham loved my promo, but Wyndham came up to me and he said, "You're going to go out in a ball of flames." And he knew that in 2012. So in 2012, Bray Wyatt knew how Enzo would end. And he also was my biggest believer, my biggest fan, and also went with the name that I gave him for his finish, which is Sister Abigail. And he is on record repeating it. So I'm not saying something that the world couldn't know if they listen to Wyndham. He's said it in interviews. Enzo gave him the name Abigail. So I gave him the name Abigail. And he was the best dude that ever lived, bro. Just changed my life by making my life easy in the locker room. And enough can't be said about that. And he made me feel real special.
On that note, I can't ask you to ever say a nicer story to end this podcast, this show on. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Do you want to do a sign out, or shall I do the sign out? Because I know you've got to be dragged every which way for the rest of the day.
Hey, listen, anybody who comes to meet me at the meet and greet, you're going to meet the nicest guy in the business. And if you don't, I don't point the finger to who's nicer than me, and I will make sure that me and that guy hang out, because that's the type of people I want to be around. All right, just be nice to each other, and that's all there is to this thing. And if you're not, you're SAWFT.
Thank you very much.